to hop over to that as soon as humanly possible.
Fabulous.
You know what? I'm just looking forward to the operator bans. I think it really determines the flow of play here. I'm going to be looking over towards your Thatcher, your Mavericks, your hard breaches. Really going to be the emphasis towards how you're really going to be affecting the attacking team. Now, unfortunately, we can't quite see it yet. My guess would probably be Thatcher, Mav, and then maybe, I don't know, Wamai, Valkyrie. I think that would be a solid couple operator bans. You look over towards that Wamai being also powerful inside of Garage on top of the rafters. Zofia, however, will be a distinct difference going down there for 86.
Yeah.
Thatcher on the board, in play. Interesting.
Quite a unique selection as well. I've been very happily surprised by a lot of the Challenger League bans so far in this game. Viperio, obviously on that side of the Helios craziness in the previous one. Zofia is certainly not of that level. It does make a lot of sense, especially on specific sites as well. Valkyrie is a bit more general as a ban, a lot more common nowadays as well. And it might force Rebels into a bit more of a standard Kaid ban as well, depending on what sort of plan they're going for. But they're not. All the denial options still in play. Of course, with the Thatcher still available, not the end of the world. The Mira is removed from play.
Yeah. I think the Valk is going to be a fun one there. You generally see her as being one of the primary information gatherers, and it could be also powerful when used in conjunction with players out in the prowl, out in the roam, really kind of getting their name out onto that scoreboard. The Zofia, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I do think it's quite smart, especially if you're going to play into the utility game. You know, bringing operators such as Wamai, Goyle, etc. You take away that Zofia, you force them to bring other forms of utility, such as Sledge, potentially an Ash. But again, Zofia, she just packs so much punch. You know, you've got 4 projectiles plus breaching charges. It can be incredibly difficult to deal with. So, quite an interesting one, not something you often see, but hey, you know what, Challenger League, let's see what you can bring out, put it onto the table, and show us what you've got.
Exactly, that's what the group stages are for, a little bit of experimentation. Obviously the pressure is still on to grab as many points as quickly as you can. You've only got 3 games, you lose 1, you're already in quite a bad situation. Sophia also, you know, very useful in terms of what you're saying for this particular site, down in the basement with all the breaching options. Viperio, they'll have to work around that. They haven't gone for the Ash, they've instead opted for the Sledge solo. No bucks, as we've seen a lot throughout these playdays so far, and the double hard breach on top, relying on draw instead of any sort of Thatcher, just relying on the Twitch instead. What is this? This is a very bizarre play. I thought it was going to be a crazy wallbang to start this game off. Nubai seems to know that somebody is in this vicinity. They certainly know where he is, sitting on the top of the rafters. A sneaky drone pinging out this Malusi's position. The move comes in quickly. She could be caught off nice and quick. It would be a great start to the round for these attackers of Viperio.
Yeah. The question is, she getting a kill? Because that thing here, and she's just going in, frags go past. Pins hasn't quite happened quite as expected. Does get the frag, but the important thing there, it was multiple players going up against that Malusi. Very good kind of maneuver coming in from Viperio. I like that. I like the aggression. I like the adaptation and improvisation that we saw, recognizing the advantage and taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, identifying that she was by herself. There's no pressure. We can send extra men. Make sure she's looking 2 ways at once. You can't take that fight very easily. No damage dealt to Viperio at all. They can start to deploy this utility as quickly as possible. They have so much of it. Draw getting quickly to work to find these electric claws. Nobody on the defensive side currently noticing those Twitch drones. And there we go. There's one electric claw. Neoresh's position inside of Moto might be compromised now. Is he shoved that second one down in time? He has, just in time. Very close, denies Curly that breach onto Moto.
Now, something that's quite interesting here is the fact that he's using both electroclaws here means that it's going to be substantially easier opening up other sections of the map. Now, we are expecting the good old-fashioned impact tricking to, in all likelihood, occur here. You're looking over towards Alex with those 2 impact grenades. Nope, not going to happen just yet. Just going to wait for the second set to go through. And this should work out quite well, but no, again, they're just opening it up. They're just freebie on site. It's like a real estate agent. Buy one, get one free.
They're going to have to barrel on in through quite a few little narrow areas. Draw's going to take this fight through the smoke. He's not quite aware of this Kaid's positioning. It could be a little advantage swing here from the Kaid. If Switch isn't ready, she does win the fight. Takes a lot of damage. But with the man advantage being 2 and the plant going down, Draw gets an extra one. It's going from good to even better for Viperio. They're heading up for the flawless as Monkey is down. David's stuck inside of blue. He manages to get one in response, but with the plant stuck, it was just a matter of time, surely. Round sealed by the attackers. A very strong round from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I personally was very impressed by that initial round aggression coming down from VIP86, recognizing they had an edge, they had the drones in place to figure out where this Melusi was. They then set their players up to make sure that they couldn't rotate away. So that garage stopped and noise hang out down and through open, and then Segal's got the players on top of C. Sure, she's gone. She's absolutely gone.
Just completely erased from existence. Quite a good bit of a synchronicity from the team of Viperio. They looked very strong, to be fair, at the very start of their last bank game yesterday against Helios. There were some real positives. It was just marred by the fact that massive comeback ruined their whole day. But there was some very promising play in there, and this is exactly that. Rebels will be hoping that they can get off to a better start than their counterparts from yesterday, and are re-attempting the same site. Very similar, if not exactly the same operators, and by the looks of it, a very similar setup, so a lot of pressure likely to be on Nubai in this position if he's holding it again.
Yeah. So I'm kind of interested, what is your take right now coming down from Viperio? What do they need to do to essentially get another round in the bag here?
Same thing, right? Surely. They looked quick, they looked smart. The only thing was that they funneled themselves in late, but they used their utility very strong. The smokes buying them a lot of security to drop in certain areas. Maybe a little bit too chaotic, but you can't, you get what you get when you're playing at this level with a team like Rebels.
Yeah. So looking over towards the attack so far, we do see Draw already inside a bar. See that mid-floor take already coming through. Drones already likely out in possession to, well, essentially just make sure that there was nobody out in the prowl, nobody upstairs, so now they can focus on the real prize, taking down towards this basement bomb site. All of this utility being bombed away here. Surprised nobody's going to challenge it just yet, as Joe just sitting on by and waiting for a peek. Doesn't occur. And we are going to see David actually going to be Jaeger tricking here, moving his utility away. Very nice. Pretty cheeky. Love to see it.
Yeah, a bit of versatility with their utility there, Rebels, momentarily, but they've completely foregone this roam play. Of course, that makes sense given how strong Viperio were, but it does mean they have even more time. And with the strong execute they had at the end of the last round, it just screams problems. Huge, huge problems for Rebels right now. They need an early kill at the very least, I would expect, in this position. A lot of pressure, again, will come down to the Kaid, no Resh, in this position of Moto, and the hatch means that he cannot hold that position at all. Drones dropping all around that position. It is Viperio ground.
Yeah, something else to highlight here is the drone economy going down. Still have 5 drones left available, 1 minute 10 left on the clock. Viperio, they've got a lot of opportunities. I'm looking over towards Rebels. Let's burn that utility away. Let's bleed Viperio dry as the drop count comes through. Thermite inside a Moto, that could prove devastating here if they start getting into a position to go for a split take. We're just gonna have to wait and see for now.
Just a bit of a stall here, Viperio just planning what their move is. quite a few drones being shot out, but they know what they're dealing with as soon as they move in. The projectiles still remain for Rebels on the defensive side. 2 smoke canisters gone now as Joe takes that kill. An advantage taken by the attackers, extended thanks to Monkey. David, again, a lot of pressure on him inside of blue here, with the rest of his team being over in Arsenal. Church control taken by the attackers, and they will sit there, try and get this plant down. A C4 shot out of the air, incredible play from Curly, gets a kill as well, doubled upon by Akari, left to Alex. He's going to maneuver through this smoke to try and pick out the first player, but the clock is against him. Smart play from Viperio, they've backed out away from this, and they secure the round. Fantastic attacking. One of the best starts to a game I think I've ever seen from an attacking lineup.
Yeah, I mean, just a solid execution going down right there. The recognition coming down from Viperio. Where that weakness was, he applied pressure both in through blue and from the main stairs. Ultimately deciding, hey, you know what? We're wasting too much time trying to push through blue. We're wasting too much utility with the Ana. Let's rotate around, take motor. That must have been a really good call out coming down from their IGL or their shot caller, deciding where they wanted to go for that execution. The utilization of multiple operators facilitating that attack was exceptional.
I'm quite aghast at how brilliant Viperio are, given that their attacking was mixed and a little bit bimbly, I like to say, at times on that bank game. I think that might have just been bank. Maybe they're just not as familiar with it. Of course, that makes sense given that it's back in and it's quite new. Here, this is trodden ground. They know what to do. They know how to execute it, and they are showing it brilliantly. Rebels really struggling to resist. The gunfighting certainly isn't going in their favor either. On top of it, only 2 kills in 2 rounds for their entire lineup. Now they're changing site, changing plan, changing a lot of the operators as well. And that makes sense in order to try and change the result.
Yeah. So I like the fact that they have gone to a different bomb site. As you're kind of talking about here, Ebac, downstairs, Church Arsenal, it just wasn't quite working out. So going up towards this cache CCTV, it's going to be a substantial change of pace. Bringing out different operators in the lineup to try different things. You're looking at that Wamai to remain in control of that garage catwalk. You know, I'm just looking at the rafters. That could be crucial here. Garage control, necessary.
Oh, we need to do a back and forth for audio, Fraser.
Oh, alright.
To
Test
me, to
1,
you.
2, 3.
To me.
To me, to you.
To you.
No.
To me.
To me.
To you. I don't know.
Alright, this is confusing, but you know what? Let's just go straight on into this.
Anyway, it's a nice early round already from the attackers, getting quickly to work with their breaching business. They got the double duo, Hibana and Thermite, putting them to good use to begin with. Already a lot of pressure on David in this position. I'm assuming it's David. It's not. Do you know?
Yeah, and inside of baby steps. Oh, Joe, you screwed up, buddy. Anyway, the A grade yeses should wipe that away. There it goes. David's actually in a massive position here, as essentially, if he dies, that will nah, mate, he's dead. He's gone. Yep. Okay, that's that lower garage pressure completely demolished. That means that Nubai is basically all on their lonesome right now. You generally be looking over towards that lounge pressure to protect against lower garage. At some point, Curly should be able to push into lower garage, flash up, and well, next thing you know, the Wamai's dead, the Thermite's opening the breach, and the B bomb site's already been planted. As that should be the game plan for Viperio. Is now Resh. It's rotated over. Buddy system going down with Nubai. Gonna have to wait and see how this is gonna work out. Carly gets taken down, nice shots by the bandit. Nubai, impact. Was flying it out. It's a little bit of damage onto Joe. A little bit of a kiss in the cheek there.
For the first time, we're actually seeing Viperio in a bit of a troubled situation. It's still certainly salvageable with only a 1-man advantage and a minute left to figure out exactly what their new plan is. Now that they know there is a good amount of pressure and utility lined up within the garage, the smoke's starting to deploy his canisters nice and late in the round, as he would wish so. The fact that the first floor control isn't there for the attackers is a bit of an issue. The fact that all these flanks can take place without too much problem for the defense is an issue. Thankfully, elsewhere, things going very strongly for Viperio. They get the first kill and also move through the breach, but walk straight into a dodgy area. Still find the kills anyway. Thankfully, a missed shot onto the planting player elsewhere. 2 fights going in the favor of the attackers. a lot of chaos, a lot of gunfights, but again, they all go in favor of Viperio.
Okay, so let's break that down step by step. Okay, so first off, we see that, well, Viperio, they're trying to apply pressure. They take down the baby steps player, the player at the bottom of Garage, the Jaeger. That then means that in theory, if they want to try and pressure up onto Rafters, they can do so with impunity. Ultimately, they decide against that. They open up the main breach, then rotate around and open up into construction. That late round adaptation saying, hey, okay, we've tried to exploit this as best as we can, but it's not working out in our favor. Let's change up the pace, rotate over to construction, push him in the flanks. A little bit lackluster performance that I have to admit, coming down by Alex. I wasn't particularly impressed that, well, the fact that he wasn't even drawn down, to be honest, was a bit of a misstep there by Viperio. As, well, if Alex had gotten the kill onto the Thermite, that would have dropped the Fuser in No Man's Land. You ain't picking that back up anytime soon. And that could have put Viperio in a very bad position. So yes, ultimately it worked out for Viperio, but honestly, there are a couple of instances there that I feel like Rebels could have maybe gotten away with it.
There are quite a lot of hypotheticals within that round, but the facts of the matter is a 3-0 deficit for the defensive side. And despite their failed reattempt of the basement, where they brought the same lineup, same strategy, they are doing the same thing up here on CCTV and Cash, which makes a bit more sense as it came a lot closer, but the execute was still quite strongly Viperio's, even with a 3-4 deficit with 40 seconds remaining. So, trouble signs for Rebels. If they want to get some points on the board, they're going to have to start winning rounds quickly. And a lot of health lost by the smoke. Not an operator you expect to take such an early engagement. Certainly hasn't worked out for him.
So out of all of the operators that could potentially die first, the last one you want to lose is going to be your hard support. Like your Plantina, your Smoke, your Maestro, your Echo. If you're losing those kinds of operators early on, you're doing something wrong. I would be curious. Go on.
I was so confused for a second because the hatch had moved in Gym, and I was like, oh yeah, there was a rework. So I haven't cast in like a month and a half, so I had absolutely no idea. Of course. I
actually just came from a scrim literally before this game, and it was actually on this very map, so I'm kind of feeling the heat for now. Alex about a couple of shots down range, gets a bit of damage dealt on towards Joe, but you know what? Not really going to matter too much. ARX going to be in hand, going to be firing a couple of shots down over towards Red. Interested about this. So far, we haven't actually seen that much map control. 2 grenades being used down below to try and clear out Cash, and unfortunately, none of them were landing. That's going to make it a little more difficult to try and dislodge Alex inside of that radio position.
Time is relatively in Viperio's favor at this point. Joe holding a tight angle, trying to catch somebody off if there is a move, but Alex is just staying nice and tight, despite the fact that the breach is open. Monkey uses the open window angle to take out Neo, which is not something that you want at this point in the round. That's a lack of C4 late on in the round, potentially, as Viperio haven't cleared out this bottom floor numerous times. Draw is down there currently, but the top floor is where the action's happening. A move in, a lot of players falling for the defense. Thankfully, the plant can go down for Viperio as Draw gets an extra one. It's left to Nubai. He's all the way over in CCTV. He has no angle towards any players as they've all retreated. Plant down. He finds the first in response. Very, very low health. It seems a tough task, Fraser.
Yeah, I mean, looking over to his opportunities here, knocking it home, says Draw. Nah, get out, sunshine. This is the Rainbow Six UK channel. We're going to be winning this one out. You're going back on the back benches. Something to highlight was how Joe executed onto that bomb site. They pushed in, rushed straight through the main construction breach, and I really liked that specifically. They dealt with the radio player. Now, we are seeing a tactical timeout called by Rebels. I think now's a pretty good time to be calling it. You're 4-0 down. You're going over to a tertiary bomb site, gym bedroom. They're going to have to bring something different in to try and change this up. Viperio, they've got 4 rounds on the board. Then they're going to be going on to defense, and they get to play 4 more rounds.
Definitely seeming good. Viperio in a very strong position. The gym and bedroom, it is nice to see as a change, certainly. Yeah. And the lineup, as we saw a lot in the previous game as well, on Oregon, the Eminem won out, we saw a lot of attempts to delay opposition. We saw clashes, and especially this kind of holy trio often of Goyo smoke and that projectile denial. With the Melusi on top, I'm interested to see how this will play out from Rebels' perspective, because they've played so deep. I think when they've gone for a more front foot move or a more aggressive peek around a corner, they've had that imperious nature to them. It's worked more often than not. They've just not done it very often.
You know, something that I do find rather interesting as well.
What is that?
Well, honestly, just the fact that no matter where Rebels choose to go so far, the 2 bomb sites that they played, Viperio are able to adapt to it and respond in kind. They change up their strategy, they change up the positioning of execution, and they make it work. Depending on the operators that they're facing, the utility that's being applied, they are able to change what they're doing to make it fit the situation. And Rebels, unfortunately, they're just not quite able to keep up to scratch here. I mean, they're losing the opening kill consistently, but looking at Viperio consistently taking zones of control with little to no cost.
Yeah. They do what I like to think of as ghost presence, Viperio, where they'll go to an angle and they'll have a bit of a fight and then retract from that position, but it always raises that question mark of, is there still someone there? Is something still going on? Whilst they reposition somewhere else. The whole map is a danger zone of spirits. You never know where a player's going to be. And it's horrifying as a defensive lineup for Rebels. They seem to have noted that and then retracted deeper. And that's playing into Viperio's hands. I don't think there could be any other.
Are we able to get any Liquipedia or producers or production staff able to just double check the schedule, make sure this isn't a warm up for Viperio? Because right now they are on fire. I'm sorry, Rebels,
so
but
mean.
you're getting hammered right now, and that is not something you want to hear. Like, at the end of the day, you want to be playing to the best of your abilities, and right now it's just not happening.
No, a slow start would be quite nice, a rather lenient comment for Rebels so far. Viperio quickly to work yet again. Monkey exothermic charge to open the CC wall, making their quick move to push back Neo from this position. Certainly the Jaeger and Melusi will move, and they're in support of this Goyo's position. There's nobody in support in construction. He has to leave as well, and the smoke is down inside of Jim, just being shot from the window. I think it was quite close, with Joe taking a lot of damage in response, but either way, a huge error. A knife to take down Nubai inside of the garage, bizarrely, for the Warden. A terrible start to the round. I was being nice, but Fraser, go for it.
You have an entire year to prepare for this! Rebels jumps on out, now Rish gets the kill with the TCSG-12. It's currently a 2v4 situation as David needs to remain in control of logistics. If logistics falls, it's all over at this point. That construction is going to be pivotal towards that attack in towards the A or B bomb site. And right now, if David lets this go, I'm concerned.
I'm liking this from Viperio, though. They're not getting too far ahead of themselves. A misthrown C4. A huge missed opportunity there for David, the player retracting out that position anyway. You can see Viperio, as I said before, opening angles, worrying the opposition. They're not even there right now. It's just a fake. It's a distraction. They're everywhere else than you could imagine. Curly and Monkey get the final 2 kills. A 5-0 advantage. Will it be a flawless attacking switch for Viperio? It looks like a yes.
Well, we did get a wee heads up from our wonderful production staff. At some point in the near future, we are going to have a tactical timeout for Rebels, I believe, unless I completely misheard that a couple of minutes ago. I have no idea. Honestly, I'm just here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. For now, like, I know about as much as what's going on as Rebels do at this point. You know, and it's rather unfortunate. As Nubai gonna be bringing the Warden again. Fair. I think it's quite interesting. In theory, it could be a good idea, especially if the opponents are using a lot of flashbangs, a lot of smoke grenades in their executions, which they are.
Yes.
Something we should highlight is the last round we saw on this Church Arsenal bomb site. A plant did go down by Viperio, utilizing smoke grenades to cover the plant and the rotates. So in theory, that is a smart pick. In reality, Well, I'm kind of hoping some other players besides just Nubai and Naresh get some kills for the side of Rebels.
Of course, I mean, there's so many things you can do in terms of strategy and planning and operator selection, but it's got to actually come into practice. There's no point just having promise and good ideas. You got to make it happen, especially when you're on a stage like this. This is European Challenger League group stage. It's your second game. You need points at the very least. As we spoke about in the previous game with Skill Stars, you need rounds, because if you're going to get through, you've got to make sure that you beat your opposition in terms of your kind of round differential.
I wonder if Rebels have been taking any notes from Leonski regarding this match, because right now Clubhouse ain't looking too good for Rebels. So we are going to be seeing a dart push coming through, some utility going to be applied there, exothermic charge going down. Smoke playing close to the breach, pulls back, covers the retreat there. No shield to protect them there. Interesting. I wonder who actually placed there. Maybe it's potentially a little bit deeper.
It's bizarre if there isn't one there, given the amount of projectile denial they have. But again, the smoke is the first one to fall. Thankfully, a refrag is there for onto Joe from Nubai. But a lot of damage dealt for that late round utility, because a lot of it is quite general now. There aren't too many specific operators that are going to help with some of these holds as Curly gets to work on that hatch inside of Kitchen. There's very little to hold back Viperio, given that they've taken down that extra man. Everybody for Rebels is sitting deep in the site, just waiting for the onslaught. The gunfights have been so in Viperio's favor. Now is the time to just get that cheeky little round for Rebels, of course.
There's something else to highlight here. We are round 6 going into this, and so far Viperio, they've had 3 plants in 6 rounds. Good 50% plant rate going down there. Yeah, nice little mathematics there. Suck it fresh. So looking up towards this, honestly, I'd be expecting that Viperio, they're going to want to try and get into a position that they can get Monkey to go for a plant. But how are they going to achieve that? More than likely, B-bomb push. You look at the preparation and the positioning of these players. Curly's taking a little bit of damage as he is a player with the diffuser. Monkey is likely going to be pushing in through Daughter, at least holding the cross. Curly likely will drop down once the push starts coming in full effect. Just have to wait and see for now as Jor gets a kill into Nubai. Oh, that's going to be it. Monkey falls. That's the dark pressure gone. But the B-bomb, where are they going to go? Curly's rotating, I think. I don't know.
It's still a tough execute, and it only gets tougher as draw drops. Alex on low health will somewhat help for Viperio, but they're doing a bit of a split move here. Curly even going down to central stairs with his teammate up above, flanking around the opposite side. Nope, sorry, he's gone through Moto. 10 seconds left. Diffusers in Curly's hands, all down to Ikari to cover, but they don't know where any of these players are. You can tell by the way they're flicking around the place. They have no idea. He finds one, but it's certainly not enough with that time remaining. The intel not quite there at the end of the round. And Rebels take their first round, thankfully, in this game. That's a little bit of a way in.
To be fair, out of all of the rounds that you could have won, besides the first one, or the second one, or the third one, round 6 actually is quite an important one, because it means that as soon as you go on to the other half, either your attacking half or your defensive half, you've brought back a little bit of that momentum.
Yeah, you also got some breathing room as well, because you can afford to mess it up the first time at the very least.
I mean, yes, Challenger League, you'd hope that they're not going to mess it up at all, but, you know, here we are.
I should have heeded the warnings about you, Fraser.
What warnings were they?
I'm sure you've heard everything anyone has to say about you by now, good sir. Either way.
I think that, you know, at the end of the day, yes, I'm gonna talk a lot of shit, but ultimately, this is Challenger League group
Jerry,
stages.
Where are you, Jerry? Help me.
Honestly, this
trapped.
is the thing. You're not trapped, alright? We are fine, we're having a good
I'm
time.
Just kidding, I'm really enjoying this, it's fun.
Honestly, at this point...
It's your grave you're digging, it's nothing to do with me. Anyway,
mate, like, all I'm saying here is that at the end of the day, it's not up to me whether these teams win or lose. I'm just here for the ride, and right now, it is thrilling.
Yes, it is absolutely great. These games so far today have been really enjoyable. Yesterday's matches, if you caught those, if you didn't, I'll sum it up for you now in one word: bizarre. Some crazy games that were so unpredictable. Lots of comebacks, lots of strange decisions by teams, and strange strategies on unfamiliar maps. Today, a bit more, you know, we've had Oregon Clubhouse. I don't know about the other matches that have been going on in the other stream, but so far in this one, it's been entertaining as anything I've ever seen, and lots of individually fantastic plays by individual players throughout this game. Rebels starting out on the attack now. They brought along the Thatcher, which Viperio did not do at all on their attack.
They did. Draw brought him.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, my mistake.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, so, not very often, at the very least.
Something that is different, actually, in this game is the level of aggression and resistance on that middle floor and that upper floor. You're seeing so many players upstairs, and their job is to harass and essentially annoy the living hell out of these attackers, force them away from that side push. Oh no, Jordan, you did not! You did not! Hooley's gonna push, but it doesn't matter! Jordan doesn't give a fuck at this point! He's pushing in. Oh, it's over. Oh, man.
We heard it here first. It's over, apparently. It certainly is for draw, and the comeback strikes. Cast a curse, potentially. It's a 3-all at the very least in terms of men on the board. Rebels in a much more comfortable position now. They have lost that hard breacher and the Thatcher. I'm not 100% sure how necessary that will be for a lot of the things they want to get open with Hibana on the board already, and no direct denial other than maybe a mute depending on what they want to get open down on that floor. A lot of projectiles still remain. You see Alex starting to use his, but he doesn't even get to drop it. Down it goes to the ground. Joe, brilliant play with the MP5.
Looking over towards this, 50 seconds to make a move, figure out what they want to do. A lot of pressure being applied on towards the church. Steven, could be rotating over potentially the blue hatch or stairs.
I'm liking
it.
Nope,
all pit. Like, this is the thing, as a caster, we just sit here, we say words, and hope that they're right. At this point, they're not. David gets a kill onto Joe, that's going to take down Mama. Nubai, looking over towards this shield, could potentially try and make a wee move around it, but they don't have any breaching rounds left, so they can't clear it out. The push comes in, Curly takes one, damages the second one, doesn't get the kill, knocks him down. Viperio 86, now on match point. 6-1 scoreline, I believe. Oof.
Surprising absolutely no one, given the previous rounds, but that was a brilliant performance on the defense, especially the mute at the very beginning of the game. Draw, fantastic early play inside of Billiards, put a giant spanner in the works of Rebels. They did bring it back, and there was some really good signs there from them. I think if they showed that versatility in terms of the execute, with an extra man maybe, even the extra 2 men, if they take that first fight onto draw, they could very much have won out that round. But again, these are what-ifs. This is maybes, hypotheticals. They are 6-1 down. It is no time for that. And Thunderbird is the first time I've ever seen her in play because she's new in this season, no longer quarantined.
Ooh, so I'm actually interested about this. I wonder whether Curly's going to be playing inside of rafters. Generally speaking, you'd be playing an operator with replenishable fucking words. Replenishable gadgets.
Do you have replenishable bad words?
Yes, I'm trying to avoid them. I'd be expecting that they're going to be playing up on top of rafters there. You've got that spear, .308, fantastic weapon, and as well, the Healy boxes that provide 30 HP every 38 seconds. So, in theory, it's quite a nice little gadget. In reality, it's very hit or miss.
Curly could actually just put them down and a different operator can play that position. That's one of the advantages of that spot. Player similar to a Melusi or any other operator who can do that sort of thing. And I'm interested to see how that works, especially with a weapon like the spear, which has had so much use with the resurgence of Finka during these qualifiers.
Yeah. Somebody said, somebody in chat just mentioned this guy's accent is so annoying. Well, it's unfortunate. 731 people need to. No, mine. Doesn't care about yours. It's unfortunate. 731 people need to listen to it. It's fine. Love your accent.
I like yours. It's great.
No, I like yours.
Do you want to swap?
No, you.
What?
Alright, I don't know. So looking at this right now, we are seeing the top-down clearance coming through. Alex going to be taking point with that Yana. A lot of utility on the board here for Rebels. And the ping's coming through. They know the position of at least one player. But Joe's going to take down Alex. Joe is just the canary in the coal mine at this point. Joe's going to protect Alex. That means Joe can rotate away into kitchen. The C4 goes up. Oh, no. No, I'm done.
Oh. Fantastic from Joe. Usually one very strong in the early round. Midway through this one, equally as powerful. Curly loses a lot of health, but thankfully, you're a Thunderbird. So hopefully we'll get to see a bit of that utility to come into play. Actually, Monkey and Akari stealing them for now, overhealing themselves, anticipating some sort of conflict. Rebels hugely disadvantaged. Reminder, match point against them. We've seen Viperio, though, come back from a weak position on this particular attack. They know how it can happen. They're going for a very similar execute across from the west side. A lot of focus towards this area, but with the 2 men extra, the flank is a possibility. The verticality to some degree could be there. Joe is taken out though. No C4 for him as the move comes in from Rebels. They've taken into the site already with the diffuser, and they've equalized the man count. Thankfully, Monkey revived over on red. He's there with draw. 3 versus 3 is a tough situation still for Neo. Even though he's in the site with the diffuser, he has no direct support, and it's an easy swing. Very unfortunate for Rebels. Hulick wasn't quite there to support his player, especially with David all the way outside waiting for a run out, which is a very bizarre situation, and his head goes on top of it, just left to the Thatcher. Surely it's only a matter of time. He has 25 seconds, 3 angles looking towards his position. Down he goes. Match Viperio.
TFW, says Viperio right there. 7-1 scoreline. Okay, hello there. I see you. Viperio coming out on top. Unfortunate for Rebels. He won 1 round.